And before we get too far into it, to my left, as always, Jason McCarthy. To my right, Keith O'Brien. Both guys are fresh off of traveling like crazy, so I thank them both for being able to make it here. So let's dig right into how we normally do this with our kill count. What do you got?
I got 5.
Just 5?
We got a handful.
5 walkers, but well...
5 walkers,
Yep.
3 humans.
3 humans. Can we count the humans afterwards when they finish them, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you want to, let's add them. Once
Wanna
the
add
humans
them?
dead, yeah, we'll make it a total
But they
of
never
8.
turned. Preemptive. So we have
Preemptive strike.
preemptive strike?
Yeah, once you're dead, you're already turning, right?
No, because no.
No?
They were just laying on the ground.
All right.
One of them was ahead.
You win that debate.
I'm going to win that. I think.
You've won.
I like the
I've already
theory.
yielded. I've already
Yeah,
yielded
yielded.
that concept.
And the human deaths were 2 and 1. Meryl got 1, and Michonne killed 2. Probably in the best kill of the night, just dropping out of a tree.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was good.
That was awesome.
Bad.
All right, so the next we got is the show was called Hounded. The teasers for this one led us to think Rick was going to get a call from somebody. Andrea and the governor were probably going to hook up. Glenn and Maggie were going out on a run. And then the other question is, how long do we really want to put up with Rick and his melancholy? I think we got all that answered tonight. So, Jason, why don't you start off with the first teaser with Rick and his phone calls. We got a full answer in one episode.
The short and sweet is Rick's nuts, at least partially. I can't say he's lost all grip on reality, but honestly, he's to the point where he's losing it slowly. But when he's not by himself, he's more normal. But when he's by himself, he's imagining all sorts of things, and he can't deal with his own stress.
What do you think about the phone call?
I think it's a little self-reckoning on Rick's part.
Absolutely.
A little self-examination. I mean, he's talking to a lady's voice, and she's trying to console him or lead him. And then he's talking to a guy, and he knows his name and that he's his emergency. First question is, how many people have you killed? So, and then we go back, and she knows his name, and she admits that it's Laurie's. The voice is Laurie, and it's Rick's own self-reckoning, psychosomatic analysis of himself, of what he's done. So he's hounded.
I wonder if the male voice was Shane.
I was thinking the same thing. It was probably Shane, especially with the question of how many people did you kill.
Yeah.
I thought that was probably who that was going to be. I really saw this. I was surprised that they wrapped it up in one episode. They hit us with it at the last, and so that doesn't really count. And then this whole episode, he gets 5 calls by the end.
Oh, 5.
Yeah,
About
I think it was
5.
5.
Right. So I found it interesting that his conscience decided to give him a 2-hour window. Take a break. I'll call you back.
Think about things.
I mean, that's interesting. I don't think my conscience has ever said, I'll come back to you in 2 hours when I felt guilty about it.
And he had time to clean himself up, find a shirt, change, go check on. I came to check on Carl.
Right. And not the baby.
Carl, you're okay. I'm
Right.
going to go back to the phone. I'm going back to the rotary phone and talk to the dead clan, I guess. The dead people. I don't know.
Well, but then by the end of this, we got an answer.
We got an answer.
They've never done that in any episode.
There's a phone analogy.
Right.
You got an answer.
They've never given you, from
wrap-up.
beginning to the end,
A wrap-up.
one piece that you wanted answered. So I don't think we're going to see that again.
Cross out the subplot of the subplot.
On the subject of the phone call, what do you think was Herschel's reaction?
Rick, you're nuts. But as we all know, Herschel's a veterinarian who dabbles as a doctor, so now he's dabbling as a psychologist.
And I don't want to rat out one of our viewers, but let's just say we affectionately call her our version of Michonne. This is her take. Voice 1 was Amy, voice 2 was Jim, voice 3 was Jackie, and then voice 4 was Laurie.
So she remembers the names just as good as Carl does.
Carl, yeah, she's up there with Carl. That was awesome. So good hit.
And we thank her parents for letting her stay up once again. Thank you.
We need to get her in on a studio broadcast, I think. And that was one of the things.
You realize right now she's at home going like this.
Yes, right, absolutely. One of the things that with that phone call, and it was really going to bother me if they did stretch this out, which is why I'm absolutely excited that it was wrapped up in one episode, was I really don't want to put up with these phone calls over long periods of time. I could handle like mini flashbacks and your conscious kind of saying, hey, what are you doing? but there was only so long I really wanted to put up with Jiminy Cricket and the Verizon ad. It was just, can you hear me now? Can we get on with this? And it happened. So for that was pretty good. The other teaser that, well, this got answered pretty quick too. Andrea and the governor. That did not take long. He's a smooth operator.
Definite politician.
Yes. one of the Facebook comments that went up was, is he the governor or is he Bill Clinton? How quickly he was able to get her to hop into bed with him.
Well, Bill
He
Clinton
was working on her from day
He
one.
was a governor,
Yeah,
that's
he was,
right.
yeah.
He was working on her from day one, and I think that that was always his ultimate end goal.
Right, and I think
that's
that's one of the reasons why he wanted to drive a wedge between him and Michonne, and that's why it was get her out and get that over with. Keith?
Like I said when we were watching the show, the affairs of the affairs of state take precedence over the affairs of the state.
Right.
So yeah, he's is like that comment meant, and I did comment on it. Maybe I think he's like the governor in Blazing Saddles now.
Well, all right, speaking of governors, a new trend for our Facebook and support group is we're on Twitter, and we've also started getting messages sent to us with fan art. So in the control room, when you guys are ready to bring up the first one, which is the transition of who's the hottie? Do we have the governor or is it Mitt Romney? This came up with one of our viewers wanting to know who looked like who. So, lo and behold, this was created and posted, and I have to admit, these two profile shots here, I see it.
I see it too.
I see it too, I guess.
I see it. And then if you could take that one down for a minute, we'll come up. I'll bring up I got to set up the next one. The other one that was brought in, and this was a topic that we had discussed before the show even started. Last week when Daryl was feeding the baby, all of a sudden Daryl was, and the jokes went fast and furious. Who's the better mom, Daryl or Lori? Daryl's never lost Carl. He's feeding the baby. The baby was happy to be in his arms. So all of a sudden, all these different kind of jokes were popping up. So if you could bring us up the other fan art, Zach. So what we have here, which is probably one of my favorite ones, is Shane and Lori's baby, or Rick and Lori's baby, and the baby goes to Daryl, and he's obviously a better mom and dad than all three of those combined. So again, those came out from the support group fan base on Facebook. So there's another reason why to join the Facebook page and our Twitter feed, which we don't have posted up, but if it's @WD Support Group on Twitter.
Fan art.
Fan art is, keep sending that, because that's a whole new twist. Certainly we're loving the weekly emails coming in where people are asking questions. First of all, we're not writers of the show.
No, we're not.
We've never really read the comic books. We kind of know some of that stuff that goes on, but we're not experts. Certainly appreciate it, and we enjoy the dialogue midweek. So it is that.
We never go back to what we talked about last week, because what we talked about last week.
I'm
We're
sorry.
totally off
Way
this
off.
week. We're way off.
Good thing we're not writers.
It's a
Right.
good thing we're not writers.
But I think
indeed.
for a lot of the part, I mean, we saw some stuff tonight, and we'll bring up Michonne, for example. Michonne, when she disemboweled the walker, and that was a great disembowelment. That was like,
Yeah.
that was awesome. So now she's covered in the guts, and you can see the look on her face like, oh, that's disgusting. So if that doesn't get her an award, I don't know what will, but that was awesome. But then she realizes that she's camouflaged.
But did she not realize this in the whole time?
No,
I mean,
she had to rely on the
she
two
relied
pets.
she relied on her zombie on chains as a I guess as camouflage, like Jason had said. Ooh, zombie flash. And so
I missed that.
so she didn't know that if you're covered in the guts, you'll be camouflaged. So I don't know.
You can almost liken it to the mud mask in Predator.
Correct.
Covers
Right.
himself in mud, and
Yeah, get to the trouble.
Predator can't see him.
So there's that, and then what's another thing that we can bring up with Merle? Merle, I'm sorry, I want to call him Merle for some reason. Merle is obviously as not as tame as we had been thinking. When he's around the governor, he's very subdued, but he already knows that he needs to lie to the governor because, well,
Yeah.
he took out the whole team down there. Well, Michonne took them, two
Michonne
of the
took
guys
out
out,
two.
and then obviously
You know,
took
he
out.
took, whatever, what was his name? Neil.
He asked him to say it twice. Yeah, we'll call him Neil.
Yeah, yeah, he took him out, and, you know, like I said, you know, leave the gun, grab the cannoli. Get rid of him really
That was
quick.
awesome. That was awesome. There were a lot of good one-liners in the other room.
Yeah, where else were we? Well, we had the, you know, biogram for Mungo, right in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Biogram for Mungo.
All right, why don't you explain the biting gram? Because that was awesome.
I thought that was
You were the
great.
first one that came up with it.
Right? Yeah, Vitagram. You know, well, Merrill said Vitagram, you know, but I mean, the poor guy, he's like again, he's another member of the away team with the red shirt, because he didn't last the whole mission. He goes, oh, it's a message, go back, G-O, and it's a back. And I'm thinking, wow, it's like a cryptic quote. You know?
Cryptic quote.
Cryptic quote, right? Is that a
Yeah.
cryptic quote, right? Or a jumblegram, and I'm thinking, holy cow, yeah. So she's a very smart person. Well, you know, in the show, anyways.
Right.
We're not writers, but.
Yeah, that was probably clever, and you know what? She was really relying on that. They're gonna figure that out, and you know, and only one guy.
She was
did.
hoping they'd figure it out.
Right.
Not redneck Merle, you know. And then Merle comes across Glenn and Maggie, and now we're having. What did we say? How did we say in the other room? Now we're having this. Now we have this. Not crossover. We're having trading. We're trading teams.
Yeah. Well, you know, they lost their Glenn out in the woods.
Right, no,
And then
so he got killed.
Well, yeah, they scored the original Glenn.
Yeah.
Right. So that means Glenn's safe.
Glenn's safe.
Right. There's this world paradox where there can only be one.
Yeah.
Little Highlander reference.
Yeah. But once again, Rick and Herschel are not, you know, worried. Like, where are they?
I don't think they've been gone.
To continue the
Yeah,
fan
gone.
interaction, Chuck Feely has asked, and I'm going to take a beating for this. Alex, who does your hair and makeup? You look fantastic tonight. That would actually be another one of our viewers. That would be Jessica, and that would be the mother of our Michonne. So just saying, yep, there is some local talent here that can even make this look pretty good. So
And your
thanks,
makeup?
Jess, and thanks, Chuck.
Who does your makeup?
I'm not taking this. I'm done. I'll go off there. I knew this was going to happen. So then we have the governor,
Phil?
Phil Connors.
Phil Connors? There we go.
Done.
Sorry. Yeah, time delay. He didn't use his name tonight.
he
said,
did
just,
wanna be called.
just call me Phil.
It's off hours.
Well,
That was kind of odd.
yeah.
I didn't know he was off
And then he
hours.
said it was a 24-hour gig, didn't he?
Right.
Then he's always 24-hour gig, yeah.
Yeah. That was yeah. Well, we know he's kind of an
It's
odd.
a 24-hour
odd-
job. You know, he's,
Right. That door knocks. You got to go.
what were they, wrestling?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's anyone who had a kid under 18. That's what they were telling them. Oh look, they're wrestling.
They're wrestling. Andrew,
That's how they used to do it in Rome.
yeah. Andrew's a good wrestler.
All right, so, but here's another thing with Andrea. She wanted to be on the wall. All right, so when she's on the wall, the girl who's going to teach her how to shoot the bow, miserable.
So did she say,
Miserable.
did
Who
she
put
say
that girl on the wall?
you need me on that wall?
Exactly. And here come the really bad obscure references.
You
yes,
want me
you want
on
me on that
wall?
I like when Andrea jumped over the wall,
And-
honestly.
but she
Yeah.
jumps over the wall
For the
right?
thrill.
And she
Yeah.
did it for the thrill. She needed to keep her hunting skills sharp. Go back to last week. Michonne did the same thing. She let those walkers out and just sliced and diced like she had the Ginsu 5000 and left parts everywhere. It is a skill set of hunters that if you don't keep hunting and you don't keep practicing, you do kind of lose that trait. So is it to the point where that's gonna be a conflict? They both felt that need, that they had to kind of jump over and do something and engage. Just kind of not having it work. So the girl couldn't hit him with the bow for the life of her, so she jumps on. And what does she say? And that's how it's done. Awesome.
Well, when you think about it this way, too, when you're standing on top of that wall, there's only so much you can do. It's easy to take shots at and shoot these zombies. But what happens if they have a breakthrough? Are you going to have a clue what to do?
Right.
You know, up close and personal, it's a whole different thing. You got to be able to take them down still.
Well, certainly not the Olympic archer. Right?
Yeah.
She missed twice.
That was atrocious.
You know? One over the head, one over the shoulder.
Well, I don't think they practice shooting zombies in the Olympic trials.
No.
They
She
should.
said they had.
should.
Put it this way, how many video games up until now
You don't get
have
the
there
gold
been
medal if you
zombies?
can't put it on the zombie melon.
Right, it's not like they're running
You know, so yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's a target. She goes, "Oh, we got a practice area. I think she got to go back and practice
a lot.
a
Yeah.
lot."
A whole lot, because you were not getting that zombie at all.
She said that was her second bow. What was her first bow? The one that she got at like Kmart with the suction cup on the end of it.
They must have recalled that.
Yeah.
The recalls continue. So next week we're looking at When the Dead Come Knocking. And I'm still thinking that is going to be everyone, and now I think it's emerged more. Everyone seems to think somebody's dead somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know what? Daryl thought Carol was dead. And obviously, that was another thing that they solved pretty quickly. We know she's not.
Carol's
We know she's
alive.
probably kind of beaten up.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the men who were in love with women seem to really mess up the zombies that they think did them in. Like, that's just, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to be the overkill. So she's alive, but at some point, everyone's going to have to start crossing paths. And we knew now, with the coming attractions, Michonne makes it up to the fence line, and Rick sees her with the baby formula. And you called that before we got to that point. You said she's just going to show up with all that baby formula.
Yeah,
and
that's her key to paradise, so to speak. But it's key to safety.
Key
you know.
safety.
And
But-
she's going to have that story, too, of what actually happened
Right.
to Glenn and Maggie.
And the minute she brings up Merle, you know it's game on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is kind of where the comic book is somewhat happening, that they did kind of take Glenn and they were kind of putting a beating on him to kind of find out, and then that's when they stormed the prison from Woodbury. I'm still kind of hoping to see Woodbury somewhat get overrun. I really want to see some kind of conflict between Rick and the governor. I'd love to see those two kind of go at each other.
Well, in order to
What,
attack
in the arena?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
In order to attack the prison, they're going to need to bring a significant force, and that
But
leaves
they do have
little
it.
protection in Woodbury, so you might get your wish then.
Right. Well, you know, at the very least, Merle is leaving. He's going to go try and find his brother. And he's not going to like his brother when he sees him.
Well, Governor
And
said
he
bring
was
proof.
telling, and the first time you heard the backdrop
Yeah.
to Daryl and Merle about their mother, and, you know, that was another thing with his parenting skills. He's trying to say, it's okay, you know, my mom, you know, she died kind of bad too, blah, blah, blah. First of all, your mom didn't die in a zombie apocalypse, so that's bad enough. You didn't put a bullet in your mom either.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Carl is very cold, but matter of fact about it. He goes, I did it. I had to do it. And they just kind of was like, oh, okay.
Did you notice Carl's smile? Yeah, smile when his father walked in and said the baby looked like him and stuff. That was the first time I've seen him smile in a few weeks. Actually, since I can remember this season. Except for
No, he
his
smiles
daughter.
at Beth.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah.
Right.
Smiles at Beth.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do we learn? Don't turn your head. And always look up, because you never know what's going to jump out of those trees.
Not a zombie.
Yeah, the zombies are jumping out of
Zombies
trees.
aren't jumping out of trees.
All right, so with the dead come knocking, we're kind of all in agreement that this is probably going to be the crossing of paths where everybody thought somebody else was dead. And
Well, at the very end of this episode, didn't the dead come walking? Because Michonne's got like a horde of walkers approaching the fence.
well, they were already there.
Oh, they're already-
Yeah,
okay,
we
I see
know
what you're
those
saying.
walkers are
Yeah.
there. So I think they're not going to take the easy way out on this. I think it's going to be characters who will cross paths with people who thought they were dead.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that
I
makes
think
sense.
they wrote off Andrea. They're going to find out Andrea's not dead.
Mhm.
The governor thinks Michonne's dead. We know she's not dead, and that's not going to
She's
go
not
over
dead,
well.
no.
Daryl may or may not know his brother is dead. He's probably written him off a little bit. I think he's probably happier to think his brother's gone than being alive, because the story didn't sound too good, because it sounded like he had to
But
take on a more of a lead role.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to start coming up with some clever lies, because, you know, he can't go back. He can't approach Daryl and without Glenn saying, hey, he took a shot at me.
Right.
You know, and where's Daryl gonna have? Daryl's obviously gonna be super confused when his brother shows up because he's gonna have. Is it loyalty to the group, loyalty to his brother?
Oh, I think it'll be the group.
Oh, I think it will be.
At
But,
this
I think it'll be
point.
too.
but
yeah.
they do have to play that family connection.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to last too long. I think what will end up coming down to is he's going to make some kind of threat towards Carol, and that will be the deciding tipping point for him. That's when he's going to act. Carol has done more in that group to reach out to him. And include him, and she's offered herself to him physically because she wants to be with him. So, and he just, I think he's really missing that about her, and he missed her attention and affection. He obviously, when Sophie went missing, thank God she's gone. They really, but with that going on, he obviously has got a connection to Carol, and I think that's going to be his Achilles heel, and Merle will know it. And I think that's where he's going to go after him.
You bring up tipping points too, and I wonder what's going to happen when Andrea finds out about Glenn and Maggie, because she will find out. They will torture him for information or whatever they need to do, and she will find out about it. And I think that'll be the tipping point for her, saying, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to leave.
Yeah, now you've got more people. Now, she didn't want to leave when Michonne left. But then I think when she finds out, I agree with you, when she finds out that now Glenn and Maggie are alive and they're close, and then of course they're going to say, oh, Andrea's alive, and we're all alive, and we know we lost Lori, and it's going to be like a little, rehash, but it's I don't know, it's going to be, should be an interesting episode, because they're going to have to intermingle. And
Right.
we saw a bit of the previews where it looks like, Daryl's obviously out looking, so the word's out. Rick's going to let Michonne in. She's going to tell, as you said, she's going to tell them what she knows. I saw this, big redneck with one hand and be like, oh, that's my brother. And he goes, oh, and they took, your Chinese kid and Maggie, and then they're going to say, we got to go find him.
Right.
And she knows enough about Woodbury to not trust them. Her and Rick are going to become super good friends real fast.
Oh yeah.
That's that.
If you remember,
I call that too. Michonne and Rick are going to become really good friends real quick.
About 2 episodes ago, the governor said to Merle, bring me proof that your brother's alive, and I'll go with you.
Right.
And I think that's going to be where they go after the prison.
Yeah. Well, they definitely think they're going to go after the prison, and I think he'll tell Andrea, we're going to, like they did with we're going to go save those soldiers, and we're going to go find them. And obviously, that didn't work out too well. So as we're coming into the near the last 5 minutes or so, the way we end every show is that we talk about what did we learn tonight. And unfortunately, our most loyal follower, Billy, could not make it here tonight. So he learned 2 things. And I've lost one. But one is,
here it is.
that's one
that's
of
the
them.
first one.
I also learned that Merle needs a big modification to his pistol because it takes him too long to reload. Spoken like a true Second Amendment guy.
Yep. It's true though.
Oh, here it is. I also learned when somebody asks you to look at that bird, don't turn and look. We all agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start, Keith, this week. What did you learn?
What I learned, because I'll tell you this, what I learned, and I posted it, and now I got to find it, and then I'll give it to you. Oh, yeah. This is what I learned, okay? Because I'm a big zombie apocalypse survivor group member, This is what I learned. When you leave somebody on the roof of a building for dead, and he shows up face to face, gun on the ground, you shoot him. You shoot him first. Don't talk to him. Don't reminisce. Don't say my brother's alive, your sister's alive, your parents alive, your mother's alive. Just drop them, as you wrote. Drop them.
Right.
That's what I've learned.
And that was funny because when I drop them up on the Facebook page, that lit up comments. They're like, absolutely.
Yeah. Drop them. That's just my case. That's what I learned tonight. Believe me, I'll be paying attention. So all my zombie apocalypse team members out there, be ready.
Jason, what did you learn tonight?
I learned that the writers of this show will never stop throwing curveballs. I don't think they have fastballs. They just have curveballs. I'm pretty good at guessing what's going to happen next. And honestly, it just stops me up every time. They're really good at how they write. And I think that's why this show's so popular. But I mean, there'll never be an end to those curveballs till the show goes off the air.
No, but with the curveballs, we figured Rick was probably going to be the safest one. But after last week with Daryl and the baby, and literally the fan base turned. If you watch and read the stuff on Facebook and on Twitter, anything related to Walking Dead, anything that I had retweeted or commented on, if it was about Rick, dead silence. It was like radio silence. If it was mentioned Daryl, it was retweeted and favorited. So it was amazing how fast that fan base just kind of left Rick as the hottie, and now all of a sudden it's all over Daryl. So that I got a good hoot out of that. What I learned out of this is, boy, Andrea's got a cute butt.
I saw you post that earlier.
I saw that too, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know AMC was going to go like, FX. That was
just wrestling.
Yeah, just wrestling. But yeah, that was kind of surprising that they were going to show you that much. And then the governor, he goes out, takes a little break, hears a little story, and then comes right back in. So apparently he agrees with me. On that note, do you have any closing remarks? Any favorite kill tonight?
I don't have any favorite kill, but I do have a follow-up question, because, you're somewhat the expert on this. Are slippers that important to cons?
Yes.
Because I wrote that down, slippers. I'm like, why are you getting those? So I'm comfortable at night.
You have to understand, inside a jail, and for those who don't know, that's kind of what I do. Inside a prison,
Do we have any members in jail?
Not here. No, they should not have Facebook accounts. But inside jail, most of the time they'll walk around in their sneakers in anticipation of an incident. If they're wearing their flip-flops or their slippers, it means they're kind of relaxed and there's not a lot of tension. So yes, if somebody who's done time and all of a sudden he's going to throw on slippers, that means he really does feel relaxed and at ease. And it's that transitioning out of the sneakers, which means you're ready for a fight because you need good footing, to a slipper means, you know what, I'm okay. So unfortunately,
There you go. There's the explanation.
So there's your jailhouse explanation. What's your favorite
There's a
kill?
jailhouse explanation.
I didn't really have one. They were kind of weak to me. I just
Michonne's kills tonight, and it was when she jumped out of the tree and
yeah.
took that kid's head off.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
fantastic.
She just jumped out in one slice,
Yep.
And then even when she was just, on the ground, she was just, and the guts came gushing.
But we've been
out.
seeing those for weeks. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no. That one,
I was happy
the
with
axe to the forehead last week was just
I was
priceless.
happy with it.
I mean, Merle had one on a stick, when he was
that was
right
good,
through the chin.
right
That
up
was
the
good, too.
chin. Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of kills to, pick one. But,
No, it definitely wasn't. All right, so next week, tune in. We've got When the Dead Come Knocking, and then the week after that, the title definitely sounds ominous, Made to Suffer. And that's got to be the conflict between Rick and the governor, and all parties concerned, I think. So, on behalf of Jason, Keith, and myself, everybody here at Hobart Community Access and Media, thank you for joining us tonight. We look forward to the rebroadcast. We look forward to seeing you next week. The conversation will definitely continue here on Facebook and on Twitter. So, do a search for the Walking Dead Support Group on Facebook and on Twitter. I promise next week we'll have a graphic for that. But it is the WD Support Group. So, thanks again and have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.
Night. Happy Thanksgiving, too.
Oh, and happy.